All right, welcome back to the House Environment Committee. We are going to change topics and hear some testimony on the proposed producer responsibility organization for beverage containers.
Thank you for having me. Public speaking, not my forte. I could make you a pizza or recommend a bourbon, but public speaking is not my thing. I have something to read here.
We may take you up on those two.
We can talk about that.
To come to groceries things.
They don't, as long as they don't add up to over $15, I think.
Yeah. I was gonna bring a pizza, but I didn't know if that was
Yeah.
My name is Shane Switzer. I owned, along with Emily, Lindenville Redemption. And, the reason why I'm here today is to talk about the bill. I spoke with a couple of, members of this committee, the other night, and, I'm happy to be here to, voice my concerns. So I appreciate the time. Lindenville Redemption is one of the top 20 redemption centers in the state of Vermont. And we process high volumes of cans and bottles every day. We know exactly what it takes to operate a full service center. We're a large beverage center. So in the back of our store, we have a bottle redemption. We have approximately 3,000 square feet dedicated to that. And in the front of the store, we're a beverage center. We sell beer, wine. We're an 802 spirit store, and we sell lots of non-alcoholic beverages as well. So several parts of the bill concern us. As far as the number one concern is the loss of the statutory floor. Right now, we get 3.5 and 4 cents for commingled and non-commingled. And earlier drafts of the bill had that floor in there. And from what I understand, the PRO asked to have that removed. The PRO is made up largely of beverage manufacturers and distributors, as we know. It would require redemption centers to negotiate handling fees directly with the entities that benefit financially from lowering those fees. It forces redemption centers into negotiations where the other side's incentive is to drive the rate downward. Lowering the handling fees directly benefits the PRO. They need the rate down so they can operate. And it's important to note that some of the largest, this is made up, the PRO is made up of beverage distributors, manufacturers. These are some of the largest, sorry, give me a second here.
Your time.
We are one of the largest customers to a lot of these beverage distributors and manufacturers in the state. We run a large beverage center. And so this bill would ask us to negotiate directly with some of those companies. And I don't know if that's a fair foundation where we need to be going forward with the bottle bill. The next concern that we have is with the reverse vending machines. The idea is that that the PRO is going to install these machines, and that's going to make us more efficient and drive our costs down. As we all know, in 2026 here, costs don't go down much. They just do this on a regular basis. And so our insurance, our utilities, it's going to cost a considerable amount of money to run these, the electrical needs and things like that, electrical upgrades. And so it's just a little concerning not knowing where we're going to be at, not having a floor at all. And all of a sudden we're up against a PRO that's looking to drive our rate down, and not having any idea what that looks like going forward is problematic for redemption centers. I've talked to a few, and we all have the same concern. Some of the biggest redemption centers in the state, when I explain what the language looks like now, they're like, well, wait a minute, what? Can you tell me about that again? Like, what does this mean? And, it's, I have a few other centers, and I encourage, you and the next committee that this goes to talk to all of the stakeholders that are involved. And so with the reverse vending machines, it doesn't eliminate all of the labor and all of the other, the bagging, the staging, the utilities, insurance, all those things go up every day. And so when we talk about those, that making it more efficient, there certainly are efficiencies in that process. And we appreciate, like, we want modernization. Just to be clear, we want modernization. We want to be more efficient. If you were to sit down with me and say, okay, tell me what the biggest problems with where we sit right now with the bottle bill is, and with the current bill that we have, and I'd say we haven't had a raise in 50 years. So our costs are doing this, especially in the last 5 years or so. And we haven't had a raise in a long, long time. So we're facing possibly our rates going down with talk about efficiency and maybe, less labor. It's scary, to be honest with you. I mean, I had the opportunity yesterday to talk with somebody that owns some beverage centers in Massachusetts. And I asked him about redemption, and he said what happened in Massachusetts around 2020 with their modernization is they were the system evolved into being dominated by a couple of recycling companies and some machine companies. And the model is you buy a machine for 20,000 or you lease it for a penny a can or bottle that goes into the machine, and they pay 2 cents for a handling fee. And so he explained that process to me, and I said, well, what about the large redemption centers? How do they operate? And he looked at me and said, there is no large redemption centers here. He said they went out of business because they can't survive on 2 cents. And so, nobody's floating 2 cents, but this is just a real world example of like what happens when the rates are driven down. Some things to note about Massachusetts, their redemption rates. I did some research. I found a report that had all the states redemption rates, and Massachusetts is around 35% redemption rate, which is low. Vermont is in the 60s and 70s. And so I think how this relates back is starting with their modernization, their redemption rates are just plummeting. And the reason why is because it's a pain to redeem bottles there. What they ended up with was a whole bunch of stores that have the small reverse vending machines. You put 1 can at a time. There's a few that have bulk. There are some places that have some larger stuff, but for the most part in Massachusetts, you go put 1 can in at a time, and including his 4 stores. It's just a pain to redeem bottles there. And is that what we want here? Do we want plummeting redemption rates? And do we want the system to be a hassle? I don't think so. I don't think that's the goal. Vermont has a 70% redemption rate because there's some redemption centers have systems figured out, and it's efficient. Could it be better with machinery and things like that, technology? Certainly. But I think the goal isn't to do this. It's I think, is it still written in the bill that their redemption rates have to be at a certain level? Yeah. So just something to take into consideration. I think that's worthwhile. We took a TOMRA invoice and said, okay, if in a particular week we redeemed 34,388 cans, and at the current rates that was $1,224.63. Using the 2 cent math, that brings it down to $687.76, and it doesn't take a lot of figuring to figure out that, like, with that much less money in the system, it's just not viable. So we need to be careful. My point, I guess, is that we need to just be careful on leaving it completely up in the air to an organization that it's in their very, very, very best interest to make sure that they give me the lowest rate that they possibly can. It's troubling. The other thing that, there's a labor impact, vulnerable Vermonters are at risk. A lot of redemption centers employ people, high school students and people that are returning to the workforce and, I think across the state, that's the norm. And those are jobs that matter. We can't afford to lose any jobs in the state or anywhere, but we just really can't afford to lose any jobs. And if this passes with its current state and the redemption, the rates go down and employees are lost, we're, it's the most vulnerable Vermonter. So please take that into consideration. I think what I'm here to ask is that maybe some language needs to be figured out, and I'm not sure exactly. I've been trying to keep up with the bill, but it's been changing, and I've been trying to watch the testimony and all that good stuff. So I'm not 100% sure where the bill is at as far as maybe we need a study for a year with all of the stakeholders and like with redemption centers and with the PRO. What does the PRO look like? Some questions we need to ask ourselves is what does it actually cost to run the PRO? The woman, I can't think of her name, I'm sorry, testified that it costs 0.3 to 0.4 cents per unit to run the PRO. What is that based on? What do we know about like how exactly that's going to work? In talking to beverage distributors and manufacturers, they have real concerns about that. They're like, okay, if this thing isn't fully funded, what, we're going to get a bill like as a distributor that, so there's some questions about all of that, and some people that I've been talking to. So how much does it cost to run a PRO? What does it actually cost to put machines in 20 locations? And after those 20 locations, then what? We have $3.5 million in this bill to fund over 4 years, to put machines in. What does that look like? Are those real costs? I talked to one redemption owner that said that he got a quote for a machine and it was $400,000. Well, $3.5 million doesn't go far if you're spending 400,000 on each one. So, that doesn't cover 20 stores. So, what are the real costs there? At the end of the day, we want to avoid what I learned about Massachusetts and how they modernize and rushing into a structure that risks collapsing the redemption network. Redemption centers are the backbone of this bill, and I think that we need to make sure that we hear from some other redemption centers. I know this committee is looking to vote on this. It's going to move along and or not or whatever, but at the end of the day, I think that there needs to be more voices heard in the redemption community, because everybody that I've talked to, I've been making phone calls all week to redemption centers saying, are you aware of what we're dealing with here? And when I explain the PRO and that the floor is taken out, every single person wants to stop me and make sure they heard me right to make sure that this is what we're actually looking at. And so I think that having more redemption centers involved in the conversation isn't a bad idea. We need a system that's predictable, fair, and economically viable for everybody involved. The PRO doesn't want to spend any money doing it, and we don't want to lose money. So like, what does that look like? And just at the end of the day, I understand there's been bottle bills and different versions and things for the last 3 or 4 years. The idea of this is to we gotta get something going, and we have to start somewhere. And I understand that, and I want that too. And I think that a lot of people that are involved, a lot of the stakeholders that I've been talking to, feel the same way, that they're like, we want to do something, but is this the right one? I don't know. It scares me with with leaving the fee up in the air. It's like taking what I do, my livelihood, and putting it up in the air for somebody else to decide over here later is scary.
Yeah. Well,
Love to take any questions or
Thanks for your testimony. You're a great public speaker.
Well,
By the way,
yeah,
Representative Pritchard and then Nora.
So I guess I understand how the machines may increase your efficiency.
yeah,
I think part of the goal of this is to increase redemption rates.
yeah.
Do you feel this does that? What
That's,
steps that are taken in this bill increase? I mean, we're looking to get to 90%,
yeah,
85 or whatever.
yeah,
It's been steady for years and years and years.
yeah.
So what change in this bill do
Yeah.
you think gets us there? Or do you think it doesn't get us there?
That's a great question. I haven't put a lot of thought into that, to be totally honest with you. I'm not just thinking quick about it. I'm not sure that there's anything in here that does that. What I would ask is, I would ask you all, what are your thoughts on how this gets us there? And I don't see anything in there that stands out as like a, this is definitely going to get us there. If you really, really want to increase redemption rates, I'm not a complete expert on the matter, but my first thought would be you'd probably have to raise the amount that we charge. By the way, I'm not necessarily in favor of that. We compete directly with New Hampshire where I am, and we're like, it really mattered. Somebody came in the other day and they said, how much is a 30 pack of whatever it is, Bud Light? And I said, it's $25.99. And they said, okay. And I could tell they were price shopping. And I said, how does that compare to New Hampshire? And, or how does that compare? I did not say New Hampshire. And he said, well, I buy it in New Hampshire for $20. And, he buys it in New Hampshire for $20 before tax, before deposit. So point being, if we add, say we make the redemption 10 cents, then that just puts us further away. It puts it at almost $15 after tax and deposit, more than New Hampshire. We're fighting that every day in this building. We fight to hopefully like stay somewhat, we're not trying to be New Hampshire, but we need to stay competitive. We need to make sure that we're not driving business there. And so I think that raising the deposit drives business there. That being said, like, we want to raise and we want,
Are you
we
trying to
could-
insinuate lower taxes are better?
That's a different conversation for a different day. But, so at the end of the day, I'm not 100% sure what this bill does to increase redemption rates. I would ask you that same question. If that's the committee's goal, or if that's this bill's goal, you tell me what it's going to do. I don't have an awesome answer.
Representative Nora.
Hopefully that,
Thank you so much, Shane. I enjoyed meeting you the other evening as well. Getting the same story from you as I do when I speak to the owner of a redemption center in my district as well, where I serve. And just a question for you then. So if all we did was just increase the handling fee from the 3.5 to 4 cents by another 0.5 cent or a penny, and just did that to give you the raise,
Yeah.
would that provide sufficient incentive for you and income enough for you to be able to invest in machines to improve efficiency and then be able to expand geographically? Because right now, one of the problems we're seeing is redemption deserts. It's getting harder and harder for you guys to stay in business, and so they're contracting.
Yeah.
And there are areas where it's getting hard to compete in Vermont. So if the handling fee went up a little bit, would that help you? And could you expand, and could you help solve some of these problems?
yeah, I mean, so right now I have a little bit of math that I broke out. I didn't get into it, but, I have some math that I broke out that shows like the last 6 months and what we received in income, what we paid out in deposits, what we paid in labor. And, our margins are thin. Some months we lost money, and other months we made up for it in busy months and things like that. At the end of the year, our margins are very thin. And so anything helps, as far as raising the handling fee. It certainly would help us, hire more people and invest in efficiencies and things like that. Over the years, I've thought about you know, what do we have to do to put equipment in? My store, the way my store's set up, and anybody ever wants to do a field trip, I'd love to show you my store. We'll have the whole committee over if you'd like, but, it's over in Lindenville, so it takes an hour to get there, but, our store's set up for, we could install a machine tomorrow in our store, and all we would have to do is upgrade the electrical, and there's not a lot. I was talking to some guys that go to a lot of the stores, some of the beverage distributors, and they were saying that like a lot of the stores would need major upgrades to have the equipment installed. Like our store is equipment ready, and we could do it without investing tens of thousands of, or 100,000 more dollars besides the equipment. And so we've thought about that over the years. One of the other things that is, you know, the bill doesn't necessarily address it. It might, because the PRO might make sure that it's taken care of, is Tomra is, somebody testified that Tomra does a great job. They've never had Tomra pick up their supplies, I promise you. The Tomra is, long and short of it, a great company, but they only have 3 drivers for the whole state. They consistently, and they can't hire drivers. And we can get into that if you want, but they can't hire drivers because there's so much labor involved in putting this stuff on trucks that nobody wants to drive a truck and load it like that. And it's not a great job. So they can't hire drivers, and they struggle. This week, they were supposed to pick us up 3 days, and they did not. They came on the 4th day, but it is horribly inefficient, the pickup of the product. So it's a kind of another topic that it doesn't really relate to this bill per se, but maybe that having a PRO would make that a little more efficient, and having the stuff be able to go in bins because its machine crushes it or whatever. That sounds like a great idea. Like that would save space, and there's a number of things with that we would love. So to answer your question, yes, we would love to be able to. I mean, to be able to, and happy to invest in things like that if we increase the handling fee.
Does that field trip include the pizza?
Absolutely. Yeah. We can go to the Pizza Man is my restaurant in Lindenville. If you're ever over there, stop in and have pizza. But we'd love to bring you there to have pizza. It's part of the trip.
So appreciate that you're following the bill and that you took time to come in and reach out to other redemption centers. I do think the bill does attempt to increase redemption rates by addressing the fact that we do have gaps in coverage of redemptions.
I do agree with that. Yes.
That's a big part of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for your testimony.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Actually, did you have something you wanted to? No. Okay, great. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Right, members, we are going to give it back to that budget letter. We keep getting air in here. Worry about opening the windows down to air. Oh, yes.
Are you going to vote on this now?
No, we are not. We took that off our schedule.
We did. Okay.
Yeah.
And are you going to continue to talk about PRO today? If you are, I was gonna hang out.
Hang out.
If you're not, I'm gonna.
Yeah, actually, we're all, and you may share this. I mean, I think we're trying to get it. We have to do a budget letter today and then get home hopefully safely before the storm. So, no, but you'll see it next week on the agenda. So
Yeah.
stay tuned.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, members. I know everyone wants to talk about PROs right now, probably, but
Yeah, right.
really, we were asked to get a budget letter in.
Well, no, I think I want to talk about pizza.
today. Yes.
I did check with Representative Kimball about wastewater systems for manufactured housing, and it wouldn't cover, chips wouldn't cover maintenance, but if it was a new system, chips would cover it. They could apply for chips.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, and I was communicating with folks about that as well at
All right.
the Cooperative Development Institute.
St. Chips does cover any new.
Because of the incremental tax.
Okay, folks, I appreciate the work of our subcommittee on response to the budget and welcome discussion on that now.
And I'll just add that if we need time to answer some questions, it'll be okay.
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yes, right. I just want to get,
Yeah.
if we can get
Yeah,
most
that'd
of
be
them
great.
there today.
Yeah.
That would be great. And then if there are, I don't want to have a whole bunch of outstanding rabbit hole questions, but
I also have some information about, related to the Healthy Homes program, just checking in with somebody who helps, manufactured housing communities do this work.
Mm.
Said that because of other programs, a million that's dedicated to gap filling grants, for, nonprofit and cooperative manufactured housing community infrastructure redevelopment projects would be helpful because these, when nonprofits and the park residents themselves purchase the parks from the private owners, usually there's a significant amount of deferred maintenance that is not reflected in the appraisal value of the property because that's not the national standards for appraisals don't allow deferred maintenance to be reflected in the price of the appraised price of the property. And yeah.
just for manufactured housing communities or for everyone?
Everyone. So you can negotiate after you know, a bit on the purchase price of the home if you know about significant deferred maintenance, but yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Total different rabbit hole.
Like we had this conversation last year.
It's
weird.
I know, but I feel like it's,
So I don't want to go
Thinking-
too far into this, 'cause
Anyhow.
I think high level would,
point being,
Yes.
$1 million of gap filling
Yeah.
funds for manufactured housing communities would help a lot because they can't afford to take on significant debt in order to do these projects.
is that a Chapin?
On the healthy homes piece, I mean, I haven't been thinking about this. It's sort of like just new in this moment. My reaction is, well, I'm thinking about the fact that people on appropriations on both Senate and House have told me that we have virtually zero funds above the governor's recommend to be playing with and to be considering how to spend. And that means to me, I'd prefer to put a letter in that basically has one or two priorities that we'd love for them to consider and not a list of all the requests. Or yeah, I'd love to just say, here are all the requests we heard, just so you know. And I can't see taking a program that was, I mean, it's great that we have this federal funding to catch up on decades of ill repair and systems that really warrant investment. I wish that program, while they had all of that federal funding, and 5 staff, had brought us a comprehensive needs assessment for the state of where we still have needs, especially for the manufactured home communities, but also for just our low-income homeowner population that is really important to help them out. I mean, we know we have an affordability crisis. I feel like having had a report like that would have been really useful. Having the administration not plan to carry this program at all into the future, tells me that, well, I would love to think that we really got at a lot of the need that was out there, but I don't think that's true. And what we're hearing is they are having immense still continued interest. I wonder in a year like this, budget-wise, whether we could ask the agency, while they still have 5 staff, to prepare a need to gather some of that need assessment so that next year we would have something really concrete to think about with state funds. That's just where I got left with that conversation.
Representative Austin.
Yeah, I did quickly look at H757 that was just voted out of housing. It's a very complicated bill.
And don't,
What?
Yeah, okay, let's
Well,
try
I'm
not
in,
to
I'm
complicate our.
manufactured housing,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure if that helps.
Those are, yeah,
If that's a whole
That's-
different thing.
It is a different.
Okay,
I know that the Ways and, or the Appropriations Committee would appreciate the former suggestion that you just outlined of us asking at most for one or two things that we thought were absolutely the most important from our perspective. They will have also received all the same requests we have, and they're looking to us to help them find their way through it, and as they look at the whole picture of what's happening across the state. Yeah.
I think that was our intent, was just put them all on the table and then this
Yeah.
group narrow it down.
Yeah, this was, format was not what we intended as to be our final letter, because that's not what our appropriations has asked for.
Right.
But narrowing it down is what we need to do. And there are still a lot of outstanding questions here that I feel like are not requests that we need to make. Like, I'm not sure that we need to make carry forward requests on behalf of the Department of Fish and Wildlife.
No.
And then if there are potential budget savings, it also seems like we have requests that go beyond those budget savings. And we have heard testimony too regarding the ARAP program, that part of the reason it was underutilized was because there was another program that those same households could take advantage of, which will no longer be, well, we got an email about it.
Right.
That program will no longer be available, and had served approximately 550 households or something like that in the same period.
Well, you're talking about the emissions
Emissions.
deferrals or whatever.
Right, the emissions deferrals.
So we took testimony in committee on that.
Oh, right.
So-
And
now that program sounds like it's actually ready to be utilized.
yeah,
I want to start with also, I appreciate the kind of the opening paragraph summary piece of the letter, and personally would ask if the committee can support reiterating that the governor's budget includes full funding for housing and conservation, and I would like us to affirm that we agree with that, and that even in this tight times, we would prioritize that.
I have gotten a response back from Charles. I don't know if you want me to read through that on the FTE, but the summary of it basically is FTEs are holding steady. And that the increases are all just due to cost of living negotiated with the union. I can give you all the categories: insurance and healthcare, blah, 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 and housing and retirement, et cetera. It's just all going up. But the FTEs are holding even.
Representative Taxavia.
The line item, regarding H740, that is gone to the Senate, but it hasn't passed. Is that correct? Reporting, greenhouse gas
It'll-
reporting program?
it'll be on the House floor next week.
It'll be on the House floor, okay, and then it's gotta still get through the Senate, but here, this is a line item already as an ask in the budget,
No,
correct?
no. The greenhouse gas reporting is not in the budget.
Oh, you mean,
It's-
We are
it's not a-
requesting that it
yeah,
be in the
it's in our letter.
right,
We're
Okay.
discussing that now.
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
Well, that was gonna be my question, why put it in there as an ask, but it hasn't even made it to the Senate to see if they're gonna let it sit, pass it, whatever, let it go to the governor.
Well, because
Yeah,
in
that's their
fact,
job.
I would use the dam safety bill as a kind of example. The same thing, if that bill passes, the same thing will happen to it.
Oh, with the.
The money will come
money
out and the
gets stripped out.
appropriations will have to figure out among all of our bills, what
Okay.
are we gonna fund? And so I would also bring it back to that and say, we just had a unanimous vote on the dam safety bill.
We could be putting a line in here that says we'd like to prioritize.
We would like to
dam
prioritize
safety.
dam safety funding. So we can try that on, we have to get.
That's the bill we've passed.
Yeah, the bill we just passed on a unanimous, we would hope that might reflect our care, but I think if we don't put it in the bill, it might draw that into question.
And that's not already included in the Flood Safety Act.
No, it's a new thing.
Are you're talking about the 375,000 that was,
And I'm not even proposing, but it it does sort of fall in the same category of, but it's our ask.
I think we need to put it in there as a,
We didn't hear it from
this
somebody
committee
else.
needs to have that conversation, which we could have it right now, but we need to get through. I think we should start at the top here. I mean, Representative Tagliavia, you just brought something up. I don't know if you want to have the conversation now that you just.
I'm just trying to figure out what to say we want,
Okay.
say we want to cut, thinking this hasn't made it all the way through the process. Maybe it needs to be cut. That's all. We're trying to find money.
Yeah. Representatives.
Yeah, and just, I think we're spending $1 billion, I think, last year on climate change, and anything, for me, anything we can do, you know, to get better data on, and help the climate action plan, I would support, because I think it's a good investment.
Yeah. Representative Chapin.
I'm looking for what is going to be an investment, you know, in terms of, you know, if we invest in this, will it make things better and less expensive for Vermonters?
Yes.
I mean, I really like a lot of things on this list. I personally would prioritize the conservation districts because it brings in this money directly, brings in, well, they said 9 times the amount of money and largely in federal funding. And it goes directly to implementing clean water projects that immediately address climate resiliency, as opposed to sort of planning for the future of climate resiliency, which I also really support. But personally, I would prioritize that 336,000 number, just because of the, I think just the sheer return on investment of the dollars. That's where I see the return on investment for Vermont, as opposed to dam safety, which I think is super important. But I also think our dam safety program is moving forward with work right now, and I think the administration sees the importance of the dam safety bill that we're passing. So even if it doesn't happen this year because of funding, I think it's like in the pipeline for moving forward. Whereas that if we don't, if the conservation, I mean, NRCS, the USDA agency, NRCS has, I think we lost at least 1/3 of the employees in Vermont, if not more, many of whom are engineers that help the projects move forward, like watershed restoration projects. And particularly a lot of their work is work on farms with our agricultural producers to help them implement best management practices that everybody wants to be implementing, but farms are often businesses that have very little room margin and can't always make those investments themselves. So NRCS and the ability to get that USDA money, which at the moment is still flowing, they just wiped out 1/3 of their staff. And conservation districts hired an additional engineer that we've never had before in order to backfill that federal agency role. And conservation districts are set up to do that. So I guess I think that the ROI on that money makes sense.
The NRCS line item.
For conservation districts.
Yep.
Yes. NRCD.
NRCD.
Yes, NRCS is the federal agency.
And those are the 14, 15 districts across the state,
Yeah.
like Hillary's and the rest of it. Yeah. Can we, I mean, looking at, can we, in our ask, and I don't totally understand this, so I'm asking, I mean, these monies down at the bottom, can some of those be redirected
Let's talk about those. Good point.
to not
Yeah,
affect the
I had a
budget?
question about the AERAP
That's the
money.
program.
Was that originally just regular state general fund dollars? I thought that funding for
Well,
that came
It's a
from.
one-time thing.
I don't know where the money came from, but it's one time.
Okay, for some reason I thought it was potentially from a special fund that might have some
Oh.
constraints on it.
Probably does.
Maybe I'm confusing it with the bus. I think, no, we did hear it came from the Volkswagen money. Didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that
it's
money,
from the TDI.
I think that
Yeah.
money is not easily reallocatable because it came from that Volkswagen funds and has to be used specifically for certain types of activities.
I'm hopeful that there will be increased demand and there will be
Given the waiver programs going on.
similar enthusiasm from the staff administering it in a year of, we got this money to people who needed it and fixed some cars along the way. Although we did also hear about the warranties. By the way, my light went off. I thought it might be a gas tank thing and it was.
Oh, gas cap. Did you get the warranties? Like, how
That you sent.
I sent you?
Um,
That's not covered.
fixed itself. It was, anyway,
So
so
that's out. How about the 190? Is that,
um,
To try to redirect.
And it wasn't already redirected in the governor's budget. I always think of carryovers or carry forwards as things that are already being redirected. It's not this year's budget money.
Where did
I
you-
don't really
They were-
recall where this.
Yeah.
how did this come to your attention?
It's in Secretary Ward's presentation, which I printed out. Since I started to dig up stuff online, so when I found it, I was like, I get it. Send it to the printer. So it's this line, page 41 of her, page 43. Carry, the last line, I'll carry forward there.
Are they both on there, the ARF?
No, the ARAP, the ARAP one doesn't exist anyway. I couldn't find it anywhere, carryover or anything. So we asked Trevor, like, Representative Squirrel, sorry. We heard testimony on it. There's like $870,000 left. Where is it? Why doesn't it appear as a carryover somewhere? So he said he'd dig into it.
Probably because it's in special fund.
If it's a special fund thing, that might explain.
So these are, when it's zeroed out, it means they're gonna spend it.
So that means it's all gone. Yeah, it's either already spent or
It's obligated.
done. If there's still money sitting there, it means they haven't earmarked it or even planned how they're gonna spend it. But it's applied. It was originally allocated to that project.
I'm a little distracted because I'm still thinking about the ARAF and your warranty coverages. And whether or not we really expect that demand to go up.
what was that, the 500 people that they served? What kind of time frame is that?
There weren't 500 people. Oh, I'm sorry.
Talking about.
What are you?
The,
Well, you said it's shifted to this program.
right, the emissions,
Oh, the deferral.
Referral, yeah.
yeah, they mentioned something in 500 something. Folks had been.
Well, I guess it's irrelevant because we can't.
In the
get into
time
those
period.
anyways.
They've been implementing this
Yeah.
program.
But wasn't it?
Well,
Seem to remember when we got into the explanation, it was because of the lights and people not understanding, number one, the warranty that they still had.
right.
And once the inspection centers learned how to actually do the inspections, that's when their failure rate dropped way down.
There was a combo, you're right.
Yeah,
Yep, that's true. So anyway, that money is interesting because then I know this isn't what some of you are gonna want to hear, but since it is climate related money, don't know if it helps with the greenhouse gas inventory, which we did hear from our energy committees would help them to get specific data.
But it is
possible.
included in a different committee's budget letter. As well. Also included in the House Energy and Digital Infrastructure budget letter. They requested that it also be here. So to me, I feel like we could include it in our letter, but put it at the bottom, knowing that it was prioritized by another committee. So if there are funds available that can be reallocated from another source or whatever language we would want to use. I mean, I think we can recommend more than one or two things, but we should prioritize things. I don't think it's inappropriate to say, if there is additional revenue available to us, because still haven't determined the full scale of the revenue that we'll have available to us this year.
Yeah, it seems like Ella, you did a great job kind of framing the case for the conservation districts and why they're important, and they really are they're filling a gap. They also leverage federal dollars that are still currently available. And they do water quality work across the board, impressive array of projects were shared with us. I'm also thinking about prevention of future problems and the chloride bill and other things that we can invest in now that could prevent future costs later. Representative Chapin.
I would lean towards, I also think the chloride bill is something we're gonna be stuck paying way more real soon on all the streams and rivers that are rapidly, like every time we get testimony about this, we hear about there's more TMDLs. They're somewhat small. We're not talking about like, Lake Champlain watershed, but we're talking about real streams and rivers that are turning into TMDLs on chloride. I mean, I really care about the greenhouse gas reporting work and all of that. I feel like focusing on things that are just more bipartisan and just putting a couple of things, given that we're really not talking about, we're likely to see none of these things get money in reality. And I do agree also about mentioning the fully funding the statutory obligations to the Housing and Conservation Trust Fund.
Yeah, that's already
the
been
Housing and
added.
Conservation Board. So thank you for adding that. I think in all the years past, that's always been such a major part of this committee's ask. And so, yeah, I don't know. I really lean towards maybe just doing the NRCD and the fluoride bill, which we're, I think, about to receive. So those would be my priorities, and I love virtually everything else on here also, and I just don't think the timing makes sense with no money to even really create a long list of priorities. It just doesn't feel real.
It's not a very long list, right?
It isn't.
Right, yeah. I'm open to that.
Might even come up
I'm
an
okay with that.
In the
but
scope of a $9 billion
Considering that
budget.
we're, also, we found a few things to tick off of it. That we may be coming in pretty impressively with a one-page letter, so.
We're doing our best.
Yeah, what Representative Logan?
Yeah, I would still like to recommend that we include base funding for the Healthy Homes Initiative. We know that the staff will already be working for half of a fiscal year. And it sounds like to scale the staff, it sounds like you probably need 3 FTEs to function in that program with a smaller scale. So that would be $225,000 for the staff for the remainder of the state fiscal year. And they said that they could, like 2 million would make it worthwhile to continue to have the program, and that would help fund approximately 60 residential projects.
I just heard the deputy secretary say 4 million.
He said that's what they received before. He said they could make it work with 2 million.
2 million is like the knee of the curve. Below
Yeah.
that, it becomes not worthwhile. But they could do it with just 2 million and cut things in half.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying when it came over.
thought he said 4 was the worthwhile number.
He said that would be great.
Yeah, yeah. 4 would be like super duper. 2 is like the minimum
Yeah.
if you're gonna do it all
Yeah, but
with 2. If you're gonna go less than 2, don't bother.
60 households, and that would only be for the site-based program, not the MHCs. That wouldn't fund, but that would be 60 households out of the 400 that they have who are eligible.
Yeah.
We have other sources of funding for some types of the projects that program covers. So I'd say that even though there are 400 eligible households for that project, or for that program in particular, there are other programs that could help set some of that are funded already in the general fund. but it doesn't cover all the types of projects that this program does. So I'd like to mention it, since it's not even mentioned in the budget.
It's like a very large ask this year.
I don't know, it is a $9 billion budget.
Just grown 63% less in a decade.
Within-
13 other committees have probably just said the same thing you said.
Right, but
It is. a
we have an
$9 billion
appropriate,
budget,
yep,
But we are asking only this little bit.
right. And it's up to our appropriations committee to decide. And if we say that we think it's worthy because it does good work, and they'll make the decisions that they make.
It's interesting, some of the testimony that I've taken from conservation oriented people and from conservation design. I believe the guy's name is Sam Main. He was out of Essex. In a CDS office. And he was saying 9-1 was the leverage they were getting. Money they got from us, from other organizations. Last numbers he told me around 658,000 last budget run. They're going over this year, they want to increase that to 968,000, hoping to leverage still 9-1. That would be nice. However, who they're leveraging from be the feds. One organization or another. And when you look at that, I don't see the feds being very generous in this next go around. So I think some of the conservation desires and hopes that we have might have to be stayed for a while. Not that I like it, but practicality of it just doesn't show a lot of good faith on our part to ask for more money.
Representative Chapin.
I totally hear you on that concern that federal money might just go away pretty easily.
Evaporate.
NRCS's budget is determined through a 5-year farm bill, which has been, I don't know, we don't actually have an active current farm bill, but the way money flows into NRCS, in my experience, is it is much sort of longer range, consistent money. So even though we don't have an active current farm bill, I don't actually, now that I'm not working in that sector the last 5 years, I don't actually keep up to speed as much on how that is influencing agencies, but what we did here, the conservation districts did say they did not expect the pool of money for projects to go down. It's just that the staffing has been wildly reduced. And so those projects are going a bit slower. So I guess I share your concern, but right now what we've heard is they don't anticipate those pools of funding to go down. And so it's actually an opportunity, in my mind, it's an opportunity to try and make sure those projects are still going. It could happen, but also the federal fiscal year is slightly off center from the state fiscal year. So federal impacts for next fiscal year have a delayed impact on our state.
I think you explained to me one of the biggest relationships that happens with the USDA. FS.
Is he expecting the resources to go away or go down?
I think that was the biggest reason for his $300,000 increase.
Yeah, that was
I
not
thought
my
it was just that
understanding.
they were able to fill some staffing gaps that the NRCS staff had been cut back. And they were trying to cover that staff they had been backfilled. So just kind of what I'm hearing or gleaning and looking for feedback on is greenhouse gas reporting program, maybe not something we want to include in our budget.
Or in a separate, we could have 2 sections with like top priorities and like, these are the things that seem important if it's possible, but we imagine they're not.
So that in a holding bucket for now.
Yeah.
How are folks feeling about the pitch for now? This is a for now thing. We're gonna have to revisit it on Tuesday. But so the request from the conservation districts. Leave that in now for a priority. Maybe we'll hear from others about it. Okay. We haven't talked about serve, learn, earn yet. They're already getting 1 million. Is that right?
No.
Or they're getting 500.
Which is less than they got last year.
Yes.
And
That
then
was a big ask. I was
No.
kind of surprised by it.
they got
I know.
$2 million to the year before
I
last.
know.
And so now they're getting
I know.
$125,000 less than they got last year.
But wait a minute. What are they in the budget for this year?
500. So 25% of what they got 2 years ago.
Yeah. Um. Discussion on that one? Budget year.
Yeah.
Representative Logan.
Yeah, I mean, my preference would be in a tight budget year that we allocate funds to help Vermonters make life more affordable. I think long-term investments that will save Vermonters, all Vermonters funds in the long term are really valuable. But I also think that investing in workforce development for young Vermonters is just as important. And the fact that this program has had extremely successful results in providing that workforce development and keeping young people in Vermont in careers that we seem to have a hard time staffing. At the state level, seems really valuable. I mean, I feel the same way, obviously, about programs like ARAP and the Healthy Homes Initiative, that at a time when income is not keeping pace with inflation, except for those in the top 20% of income earners who are earning at higher rates than the rate of inflation year over year. I feel like we're not a human services committee, but like there are certain things that are in our budget that we have to make decisions on. And so I would prioritize ensuring that people who are struggling don't continue to struggle even further. So that's my priority. But like with the serve, learn, earn, it seems like such a huge return on investment.
Yeah, and that's what got us last year.
Yeah.
Bring in money from private donors to invest in our young workforce.
Yeah.
Tricky business. Representative Tagliavia.
I hear what you're saying. I like the whole idea. What about putting it as our number 2 with a high priority as our ask for more money for it? So the 500,000 with an ask for 500 more be our number 1 ask, if possible. Follow what I'm saying?
I don't.
Make it
No,
number
not-
2 on our
Number two.
priorities
Okay.
with the 500,000, and on our ask list, make it number 1 for the additional funds.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
The second.
Does that make
list,
sense?
The second list.
Second list.
Yes.
Number 1 on the second list.
Number
I
1 on
see.
our second list,
I
on our
see.
ask.
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. Oh, right. On
See
the
what I'm
on the
saying?
backup list.
On the backup list.
Yeah.
I would support that. I think there's a lot of programs that are doing this. You know, that's why I asked about BSAC and, just talking to the community, CCV this morning, the programs that they're doing. I'm curious about how many programs there are that are doing this, and I'm hopefully successfully, but I'm curious.
Your CTEs are doing it.
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
hoping that
it'd be interesting to explore the overlap.
listing it that way will help. If there's extra money, that's.
I think it's a great program, but I think it's duplicative. You know, you have the CTEs for the younger high school students, and you have the options of the community colleges. These folks get that option. You know, and I was trying to understand if they're the private donations that they get, and I know they get a lot of, are they based on the numbers that they're funded? Are they based on their funding, or are they? I don't think they're based on their funding, correct? Right.
This year they made the case that it did, and they said it again this year. They didn't say match. They said it
Yeah.
was really important that the state was investing in their work. Yeah.
I guess that they felt that their investors thought that it had backing, and from that standpoint.
Yeah.
There was a mention of that, it's leverage.
Representative Chapin, then Logan. But Michael, are you joining us for any kind of official conversation now?
No, I'm just checking in to see if you need anything on 778 or about
Just a clean copy on 778.
Yeah, I emailed you.
Okay.
Just had a little highlighting remaining, what we voted it out, all in favor.
Okay.
I figured you were coming in because you heard we might get free pizza.
That's why.
Maybe I need
Oh, thank you. Thank you for.
You too, Mike.
Representative Chapin.
So, I know some of these organizations pretty well that collaborate on serve, learn, earn, or well, I shouldn't say pretty well. I really love this work. I advocated for it to be in our budget letter last year. I love the sort of conservation industry dedication of this workforce development project. There's lots of great workforce programs in our state. We need even more than we have now, and I think we know that. And then it has been, I think, on this administration's priority to sort of support workforce development. I know that these are organizations, and this program is not going to go away if we leave it at the lower funding level, and that because a lot of their funding comes from the private foundation world, this is a less of a priority for me because I know that this program will survive even if it has to do a lot less work. And compared to something, and I'm also really differentiating as I start to look at this more fine-tuned, especially with some of the bills we're passing out. When for administration run programs versus a program like this that is nonprofit run, and there's quite a bit of private money in this, and yet it's such a public good. So I guess that's why I think that's why it's important for the state to invest, and we will still be investing with the government's recommend. And so maybe putting it on just so appropriations knows our wish list, if there was a different budget environment, putting that as one of the first ones would make sense because of the importance of workforce development in this sector specifically, but I have a hard time prioritizing this year.
So thank you. I think that was helpful. I would say also that kind of like the VHCB thing, we should say we support the governor's recommend 500 for this. And then I understand where Representative Tagliavio went. The other 5 would be at the top of the backup list,
And I believe that's
possibly.
in the text, isn't it, that we support?
It's implied.
HCV.
Oh, no, I mean, in the serve, learn,
Yeah.
earn,
Oh,
item.
Yeah.
Um,
But highlighting it above and what we do definitely support.
okay, yeah, so
Sort of being,
we,
please don't go lower.
Yeah, so they're gonna be,
we support.
they're gonna be looking for money. So I just want to make sure we're kind of, things we really want to protect are clear.
Right.
All
I mean,
right,
that's like a third category of things. It's not really an ask, it's protect.
back off.
Yeah.
Right.
We're very happy.
Well, I think they go in the top paragraph.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Like, we support full funding, we support.
Okay.
Well, I mean-
Because that's for me, that's the sentence of here's what we like about the governor's budget.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've said essentially, we've said
I
that
added a few words.
we agree with the governor's
Yes.
recommend for the Agency of Natural Resources. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on.
But I don't know
about the
that-
things
but
that
I
I
don't-
don't agree with.
I just added, you had asked to add some words there, so right in the middle of that paragraph, which supports necessary conservation and housing. that's pretty high level.
And then I added a sentence right at the end there in that paragraph, or in that section to explicitly talk about the decision to fund the BHCB at its full statutory allowance.
Yeah.
We did that in the past years via the letter as well.
Because it's statutory, I think it's good for us to directly reference.
Such a good.
Yeah.
We're now at DEC.
Yeah, so I have a suggestion. Do you think, is it helpful to divide things into critical? Like, we must do this, for example, funding the $200,000 to implement the chloride contamination reduction program, 375,000 for H778 implementation. Because these are new programs that, or yeah, I don't know, thinking about like critical needs for the state versus.
Contamination is pretty critical. I think.
Yeah.
I think that one rises. I don't feel the same way, dam safety.
Because, well, and I would say, yeah, especially because this is a new program that they're standing up, the chloride contamination reduction program, and dam safety, there's already a dam safety team.
Yeah, I actually think the pilot project and having the division of emergency management start getting involved in this feels also similarly new, but I just don't think it rises the same way that's the chloride contamination.
Really?
Yeah.
What do we have from DEC?
We also tried to do this chloride last year, so it's also like a whole year later than I wanted to do it, so.
Yeah.
What do we have from DEC for statistics on stream loading?
We heard a lot about it last
We heard
year.
a lot about it, but did we see any figures on particular streams?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, including
Yeah,
that
we
there
did.
were at the time.
That's why I don't support it. For me, because when we had that presentation, the stream that I'm very familiar with, the Meadowee River, that follows Route 30, is already maintained and serviced by the standards we want to put in place by the state, has been for 6 years, and it's risen 13%. So I just don't buy into this whole thing. We either use salt or we don't use salt. You want to reduce it, just stop using salt. Just stop it.
That's why I'd like to see if there's testing.
I don't want to
this spring,
spend
whether
money on
it's
stuff that I don't think
it's
is.
salt.
Well, this is a controversial bill, which I remembered it being not that controversial in the end when we passed it out, but my memory can be terrible. Anyway,
Well, I haven't had a
it's
chance to
controversial.
read it because it came out. There was only one vote against it out of the Senate, right?
It has changed very little from
Very
other.
much the bill we had.
It's only the judicial aspect of it that I think really got worked on in the Senate. So it will.
I'll have to read it.
But anyway, I don't feel strongly tied. Personally, I think that the ones that are state programs, if they weren't in the governor's I think in my mind, the administration can do the dam safety work and the chloride contamination reduction program, even if we don't fund it this year explicitly in statute, because they have the authority to move resources around if they think it's a priority.
So you're saying that about the flooding?
I just see them differently as in our appropriations. Sorry, Sarita.
You see that in the flooding, because the flooding is, the funding for the flooding, for the implementation, is my second.
For the Flood Safety Act,
Yeah,
121.
because it's implementation.
Yeah, I guess I
and it's
just,
hiring three, I know I sound like a broken record, but to say, well, we can put this off or postpone this, we don't know when this is gonna happen. And I think it probably should have been implemented like 4 or 5 years ago, this program. So,
Dam safety?
yeah, yeah.
No, flood safety.
Oh, flood
Flood
safety.
safety,
I mean,
right.
it has
Flood
been
safety.
it is being implemented. They have 11 staff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, $1 billion of that $9 billion is paying for restoration for the damages of the flooding. So.
Oh, I know.
and
We
we're
talked
not-
about
and
it a
we're
lot
not
in the
getting-
last
and we're not
legislative
getting
session.
FEMA money, so I don't know where that money's going to help,
I
come
agree.
from to help Vermonters who lose their homes or their roads are blown out or bridges are blown out. I mean, I feel like it's gonna fall back on the state and that concerns me.
Budget.
Almost as if they should be raising taxes on those who just got us a 400 million tax break from the federal government.
maybe we just have one shared priority.
which is,
the,
Yeah.
NRC Conservation District.
Maybe.
maybe.
Changing in real time as I'm speaking.
Yeah, I've been moving things around.
I blinked, I was like, wait a minute.
Watch, see that? Shared edited doc.
I'm actually about to make another change.
You locked a section.
I'm moving it.
Because you missed the carriage returns, you should be two bullets there.
All right, it's
Friday afternoon.
You have to just refresh it. It's happening in real time.
Christy, did
Yeah.
you want to add anything to this conversation? Yeah, look, raise your hand. Oh, Representative Morris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really appreciate the way the conversation has developed from where we started with the letter and talking about necessary expenses and unnecessary, maybe perhaps new employees. And I really appreciate where we are kind of landing on. And I just want to say I concur. I think the natural resource conservation districts is a good place, especially if we can get matching funds from feds. And I'm not a fan of hiring a lot of new employees this year, simply because of the loss of the federal funds from the COVID era. And they are extremely important tasks that we're asking them to do. But I think we ought to stop or pause a little bit to see where we're going to land on our feet for the next year. But I do appreciate the conversation and where it sounds like we're landing on. So I just wanted to mention that. That makes sense?
Yes, thank you.
Makes sense.
Just thinking about it. Representative Todd Whately.
I agree with Representative Lawrence, simply because of the cuts that AMT has already, that they paid in the past.
We could save a lot at AOT without salt.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
As you remember, I'm for banning it, so I'm.
Where are you on that topic, Representative Pritchard?
Fine with getting rid of it.
It's all altogether.
I don't have
I
any.
would really say.
Matter of fact, I've heard a lot of comments from people this year when this last storm, it was actually easier to drive on the roads.
Without salt, it absolutely was. I couldn't agree more. Yes.
And agrees.
I mean,
Actually slowed down.
the big thing is the liability and how we've allowed.
What if we
Ability to-
only use salt on like the walkways? Because that's where people are really getting hurt.
The question I have is, what will that do, not using salt on federal road?
Let's take just a
Have this conversation.
Representative Austin would like to keep us on topic.
Going down a rabbit.
All right, members. I actually feel like this was a really great start. I would love to hear from anyone that hasn't commented on this letter. Representative Hoyt, if you have any thoughts, I'm not putting on this.
This is still new to me, but it sounds like the conservation districts makes a lot of sense to maybe emphasize that. It's something we'd like to see. So I agree with that.
Okay, great. Well, so I was gonna say we should sort of sit with what we talked about and make sure that we feel okay about it. But if folks are feeling already okay about it, we could give our budget letter writers that direction well, that's it. Maybe can you prioritize over the weekend what we've said, and then without deleting too much, just put it at the bottom, and then maybe we'll.
I've tried to do that.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so we have one section here at the top that says critical need. So I could, sounds like need.
Mine's maybe not changing.
I was supposed to update, Kate.
I need to sign
Did you
it.
change it?
You
You
have to
have to sign in.
Pull down. Oh,
I'm signing in right now,
oh,
but it's sign me in.
If you're in the Word application on your,
yeah.
Yeah, now I'm in the shared.
If you're in it.
you can see where everybody is, everybody's little initials there or the cursor.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Now
But
I
if you got
can.
it from the
Got it.
website, then you
Yeah,
won't. It's
welcome to
critical
the,
needs.
welcome to cloud computing.
Top priorities for additional funding.
Yeah,
Is that it?
When is the letter?
Oh.
I'll be catching that screen.
No,
Sure, Sheldon, when is the letter?
Today.
Oh,
yeah. Ideally. But if it's Tuesday, they won't have processed all of the letters by Tuesday,
okay.
so.
So really come in with very concrete. Soon.
So I have, I think, top priorities for additional funding, I would reprioritize,
Yeah.
like so strongly, but,
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure after our conversation how we would prioritize this top priorities for additional funding section.
I wonder if we should take votes, you know, like, whatever, you know, how
Yellow
sometimes you do it
stickies.
that way.
Wow.
Or just you have 5 stickies and you can.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we would do ranked choice voting or something
Yeah.
like that with this, but that's too much.
From Burlington. You could-
And I know what it takes, I know what it takes to program that. We could do an OPA vote. I could put that together.
Christie, I just can't help myself. I gotta say this. I'm looking at your shirt. Were you out posting property?
That's fine.
Aha, you caught on to my sarcasm, didn't you?
I feel like we should be getting out of here really soon, by the way.
you too.
Yeah,
That's why I'm trying to
yeah.
come up with a plan for how we're actually gonna have something to support on Tuesday morning bright and early.
Could we just do like a lightning round where everybody gives their priorities, like top 2 priorities in this list or something like that?
Yes.
You can record votes.
We don't need, I don't think we need to record votes.
Just use
Just sort of.
somehow that so you can.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
How to reprioritize your list.
Yeah, no, I'll just put a star.
Yeah, 2 stars.
I was just gonna put a star at the beginning of the sentence. That's how we do it in the,
In the
I
big
was
city.
also,
in the consensus, decision-making, agenda world. Okay.
I
So-
just want to mention the last section that considers potential savings. I
Yeah.
just think, I think we talked about both of them and I'm pretty convinced that neither of them really are like available.
Yeah, we should strike them.
I would love to remove that section. I was glad to look at it and talk through them.
What do you think, Representative?
I'm not
Well, I can
afraid
go
of
first.
Well,
identifying.
no, about deleting the bottom paragraph.
Representative Chapin
Oh,
is
I'm
talking, would like to delete the
The whole bottom paragraph
the
there?
whole bottom paragraph.
I don't really think the top one is available for hardly anything else. And the lower one, I think, is actively being implemented by the administration and I don't want to.
Fully obligated.
We can delete that.
Okay.
You're talking Ella, from further potential down?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was really glad to have that list and talk through it. I wish there was more stuff on that list.
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly.
No, I
And I'm wholeheartedly
tried to
encourage
put
us to
at
keep
least a few
working on it.
things where we thought we had based on what we had heard.
Okey doke.
All right.
It's gone.
So I guess
Can I?
if we're all gonna vote, I mean, I would put a star on,
2.
I'm only gonna do one.
Okay.
The FTEs for the Act 181 flood safety.
You, or that, you're voting for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm so excited.
Why?
I'll put my star there too.
You can have 2 stars.
I know.
Okay.
Another star next to chloride.
Okay, you're
Even if,
insult.
even if we decide that we're gonna pass a different bill.
I'm gonna put mine by, Flood Safety Act as well, base funding. And then, I would put my second one. Ooh. In chloride also. Barry?
Yeah, those
Larry?
those are my choices as well. I like the idea of us giving AC the bodies that they need to do their important work, and I would love to have that conversation around salt on our roads in a big way at some point, but I sort of suspect that we're not going to be banning salt anytime soon. So talking about how we can.
Affordability thing, it's very expensive.
It's very expensive. And I also really did appreciate that those times when recently when we weren't putting salt down and didn't seem like it was all that bad. So anyway.
Lots of states don't do it. Larry,
Well, we already talked about sand last time.
we did.
So if you're gonna use less salt, which is expensive, because we're sharing it with more states and seem to be getting adverse winter weather, that's made it short supply. Why would we be increasing the funding by 200,000 to use less? In this case, less would be more money available. So I'll put a star on chloride.
And do you get another star?
Yeah, you get one more.
I heard.
If you're not ready, we can.
Prioritize. I want the money. for
I like the
Training, education.
part of the bill where we're funding. Learn.
Serve, learn, earn.
Sir, learn. I
I
know.
know that's duplicative between other sources, but it seems to be very popular.
Latest news, not to derail us, but the Ways and Means voted 632 out and so the miscellaneous bill 920 and Kimball's reporting. So that means it'll be up for action. Does it go? We'll follow. We'll see if it goes to Brooks.
I thought Michael Grady said it might go to appropriations too.
Okay, who wants to vote next? Representative Austin.
Yes, I would vote again for the Flood Safety Act first and then the Conservation District second.
Oh,
We're voting on them. We all agreed they were already on.
They're on
Oh,
this is
yeah.
your
What are-
Christmas list,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
I'm
that
sorry.
top priorities for additional funding list.
Oh, for additional funding. Can you go to someone else?
Pretty much.
Richard.
You're not gonna spend any money?
Flood for me and just flood.
Split vote.
I'd go with flood. You could put chloride too, if you want to.
You don't really have to.
It's really up to you.
All right. Let's see.
Okay, did you do both?
We need,
I'd do flood.
we need more caucus meetings.
Who hasn't spoken up?
Just flood safe.
Olivia,
Just gonna start
Not
one,
serve
I think
learner.
it's the serve learning part.
yours is serve, learn, earn, and then
Yeah, and consistent with what I said before, it would be healthy homes and serve, learn, earn for me.
paragraph is locked by Kay Logan. No one can like game the system.
Oh, everybody has, oh yeah, I sent it with review status, instead of edit status.
Probably good.
It should be.
No, I tried to.
Every once in a while you put a lock on.
Oh, I think it's when I'm typing.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I think
All right,
it's
so
just
that-
when I'm typing.
That was very helpful. And then maybe use the stars to prioritize that list.
Yeah, that seems
And
reasonable.
then
And then there are things that got no votes. So what do we do with those?
we take them off.
Take them off. Oh, wow. That was helpful. All right. And then it's pretty easy to reorder the list. Yeah. I like putting the Flood Safety Act at the top of the list. Yeah.
I propose we see if we can place a reporting requirement, healthy homes somewhere. In a bill like the one that's coming out of that housing.
They could put it in the budget.
They could put the
You
report.
could
in the
propose
budget.
an amendment.
Oh, to what?
To the manufactured homes bill that's coming out of housing.
I don't know that.
Oh, I mean, I think they just put it in the budget.
Great.
If they're gonna put this in the budget, it would be an
Well, I think
amendment.
Ella's saying, no, like,
Don't
if
put it in the budget.
Don't make-
Oh.
Make a report back so that we can get information. about
Gotcha.
what the real need is in the state for water and for manufactured homes and for low income Vermonters.
I think what was interesting about that program, though, I think we might have just gotten the report, because what revealed the need was the program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally would need to see a lot more data about how dire those projects are compared to the ones that they've funded over the last 5 years. I want to see really what income.
Remaining.
Yeah, and I'm personally most interested.
Well, they're
in-
all households under 65,000 a year.
Yeah. And I'd love to personally I'd be really interested in more of a statewide actual assessment of the manufactured home communities, because what I heard is they're really just whoever's got support to get applications into us is who's getting the money. There's other counties that this word didn't get out. So I don't think they have a good assessment of that part of the need at all. And that, you know, if you fix order them, and
You should put some of that language together. Either create it or it's other child.
yeah, I think we should create the language. I
Because the bill already passed out of housing, right?
think so. But it's gonna go through several other committees and a whole nother body, so,
I don't think we shouldn't get involved in that bill. That's new. We actually just,
but we could make the
Put it
language
here.
and suggest it to appropriation.
yes,
Yes.
we agree.
So including a comprehensive needs assessment
No,
for,
she's saying like separate, not from a $2 million ask.
oh, and or. I mean,
I'd like to put it as.
How
a
about
critical
LAU?
need.
Oh.
The report,
Non-monetary critical need.
oh, I like that.
Yes.
That's a great idea.
so that we will
Okay.
get this report back
Um,
next year and we can reinstitute the program.
So-
To, down the road.
I mean, I would imagine that's way beyond the scope of the capability of the staff who run the program. They're not data analysts. They're program,
Boots on the ground.
they're boots on the ground. They're,
So they've
and they're,
built relationships with all these folks over the last 4 years and they have the pipeline and.
well, they gave us the information that they have today, and they are going to be implementing projects through December.
Yeah, that's true.
And I suggest if we're not.
They have
funding,
jobs.
we get them to write it down in a report. So
Yeah.
that the future legislature next year has a reason to relook at this program. That's.
After we
that's my
fire all the
idea.
staff.
Self-audit.
Maybe it'll help the administration think about whether they want to put it in the budget for next year and lose only half their staff. I really don't know. I just know that that's what I would want to see.
Oh, well, they'll already have lost their staff.
Yeah, long-time federal funding opportunity that was, had a huge impact.
Lose what they've learned. That staff has been on it for however many years now. We don't want to lose what they've learned. Get that written down. That's your point. Get that on paper, what they've learned. With the data.
And what the real need is,
Yeah.
as opposed to just people who are happy to be interested in a pool of totally unnational money.
All right, folks, this was good work. Thank you both.
Yeah, these kinds of discussions.
It's great.
Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Everybody have a
Yeah.
great weekend. Safe trip home.
Yes,
Especially if you're traveling south.
we are adjourned.
And we missed you, Kristen.
Can I just make a public service announcement?